Yeah, I want to get on a little bit with this Bundy Ranch deal. I know the what do you call it? The major media presents it completely different from what goes on. And I know I criticize the alternative media sometimes, but there's a true alternative media and there's a BS alternative media. But the independent media, let me put it this way, is actually giving the facts on it. The Bundys are, I know there was like hundreds of cattle that was killed by the Bureau of Land Management, and they were trying to sell off their cattle, drive them off the land. There's a Chinese developer that wants the land. There's water rights over there. There's a lot of water under the ground or something like that. It's near the highway. Harry Reid's involved. And but on the other side, the major media is saying the Bundys didn't pay any of their grazing fees since the 1990s. And there was only like one, two, or three militiamen that went there. They didn't even mention like 1,000. They made it sound like there was one or two or something like that. And they made it look like there was just a couple extremists or something. They didn't have any. They didn't mention anything about what happened to the cattle that the Bundys had, and how it was destroyed by sneaky activities by the BLM or anything. They didn't say any of that shit. That's your major media. It's all over the place like that. Now, I just have to say this. Everybody's thinking they got a victory. I can already tell you, man. Not yet. I don't know if there is going to be one, but let me put it this way. You got a victory when it's like legally binding in writing. Like, say Obama declared like the Bundy Ranch is, you can't fucking screw with the Bundys. I know Obama's not going to say that, but that's how you know you got a victory. It's like somebody like him says that, or there's something in writing, or there's something legally binding, like really strong, and the Bureau of Land Management gets like reprimanded and all this kind of crap. They have to return and restore property that was damaged or monetary compensation for cattle. Then you won. But them just backing off because there was a lot of people there, that ain't no victory yet. And unfortunately, the government got all the freaking time in the world because those guys are getting paid. They get paid to, do whatever. I mean, if they're sitting in out in the desert in some air-conditioned office someplace filling out forms or some shit, they're still getting paid. In the meantime, you got the supposed people that are protecting. I'm not saying that. I don't want to say it that way, but say that they went there to protect the Bundys. They're burning their candles on both ends because it cost them a lot of money to travel there. They're not getting wages for wherever they were. They're on vacation time. I don't know what the hell kind of how they're paying for all that shit, but it's costing them money some way or another. And they're also being surveilled by the government and all that kind of stuff. License plates, looking at where they live and all this kind of shit, looking for maybe something they did wrong and I don't know what the fuck, Maybe they got an outstanding warrant on a parking ticket. I don't know. Who the hell knows? But that's what they're doing. They're biding their time. And the thing is, I'm going to say this. I'm not going to give a suggestion, but the best way to actually, you got to make it where it's not worth their while. And that's absolutely wasn't worth their while when they saw 1,000 people standing up for the ranch and they're ready to die standing for the ranch. That wasn't worth their while right there, But you can't keep up that presence like that 100% all the time, and that's what they're counting on. It's almost like you're lifting a weight over your head and you're saying, look, I got this here right here and I'm really strong, and you just can't hold that forever. There's going to be a time you're going to let your guard down, and that's when they're biding their time for the opportune time to go in there and move in. So it's not a victory yet. That's a fact. It's really not a victory yet. Now, I don't want to say what I'm not in the planning room there or anything like that, but I do know. Well, to tell you the truth, if that was me, I'd have already been extremely, extremely, extremely pissed off, even if one cattle got fucked up by those guys. I would have been really pissed off. But I don't know exactly what my action would be because You gotta like look at it this way: direct frontal assault is usually not the most efficient way of doing things. It's you could say this in military strategy, political strategy, business strategy, or anything like that, or just get a deal closed. It's like I'd say, for instance, look at it like this: say you want to close a deal with somebody, you don't want to keep driving home the point. You might want to go around it, where I don't know, the person. I don't play tennis, but say a person wants to close a deal with somebody, and they're saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna. What are you doing? I got some. Got some. I play on the tennis court. You want to go bring your rackets? And you're bullshitting around or something like that, and then all of a sudden the deal closes. Now I'm giving a dumb example there, but it's like you don't want to actually push full frontal assault every time, because they know those points. You know what I mean? They know those points. But the other thing is, you also want to make it well. I know the alternative media is doing a good job on this, because they want to make it very. You want to make it very politically embarrassing for them to be doing this kind of shit and get the facts out, because the major media really glossed over the facts on this deal. It's like they made it sound like, they didn't mention nothing about the cattle being killed by the government or trying to sold off, and the heavy military type presence and all this other shit. They didn't mention none of that stuff. It was like they made it sound like the Bundys didn't want to pay cattle grazing fees since the 90s. And the government is like doing nothing wrong, and you got these radicals out here or something. That's what they made it sound like. And all these people up in the cities in New York and New Jersey are picking this shit up, and they're like, yeah, well, Anyway, I'm from up there, because I know how they think up there, man. They disgust me, to tell you the truth. That's why I'm not up there anymore. But, I'm going to say this. You got to, go in around. I don't want to give suggestions out here, because if I was giving suggestions for real on the ground, if I was there, so I'm not going to be there. I know that, because I ain't got time for that shit. I'm not gonna make out like I'm some hero. I'm gonna go over there all the way out to wherever the hell that place is, and go on the ranch and stuff, unless I got really, really pissed off. But I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't even say I was going anyway. But if I was on the planning board there, it's like you got to think of things, end runs around things, besides the information war, to actually just make it more difficult for them. And I don't know, you could be creative. I don't know. I don't know what it would be. But the thing is, I do have suggestions in my head, but I'm not going to state what they are. But you got to be creative about things. It's like this with everything. It's like this with warfare. It's like this with business. It's like this with anything. It's like you don't really show your cards. And you don't try to drive the same, you don't want to go like in one area. Maybe this is your objective, but you don't want to let it known that's my objective exactly. Maybe you want to go around it a certain way and not do the unexpected, where they don't expect you to do something, or make it more difficult for them somehow. I don't know. It seemed to work very well with just recently. I was kind of surprised they sent two Ukrainian armored columns over to eastern Ukraine, because of all these pro-Russian militiamen. And it's like you would almost think, boy, you wish the Bureau of Land Management was like this with these Ukrainian columns. They basically, some of them abandoned their personnel carriers and their guns and gave up their weapons, and the other ones gave up their weapons, and it wasn't even clear if they abandoned the armored personnel carriers or tanks, whatever the hell they had. They just basically mutinied against the government per se. Now, that'd be ideal if the Bureau of Land Management did that. That would be ideal. But, I don't really want that situation either, because You know, that's getting to the point where it's almost like anarchy. You know, it's almost like anarchy. Now, personally, if that was me, and I could say this, and you could say no, 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 but personally, if that was me, if I was anywhere, any troop, any place, I don't give a shit where it is. As far as me giving up my weapons or even taking a magazine out, fuck no. I ain't doing that. I wouldn't be doing that shit. That's what I was kind of surprised about those Ukrainian troops. But if you can actually get the BLM to basically abandon their cause and maybe not want to go along with the orders, that would be the ideal situation. That would be the ideal situation. You know? In other words, instead of taunting him, you know, it's almost like, you know, I don't know, give him vodka or something, you know what I mean? Corrupt him. Fraternize with him. You know? That would actually, instead of like where it's basically one force against the other, it's kind of like this. You don't even know what the hell's going on. That's when you got order and discipline breaks down. Now, I know that wouldn't be me because, you know, if I was even in the BLM, I wouldn't be playing that game, to tell you the truth. I wouldn't be playing that game. I just wouldn't fucking listen to it, you know? I mean, I'd probably, like, say, I didn't see nothing. I don't give a fuck. You know, I might do that, but there's a limit to how much I'd be doing. I wouldn't be playing games with those civilians. I know that. No fucking way. I know that would be me. But, you know, as far as, you know, pushing dirty orders, I wouldn't be doing that either. But the thing is, you got to remember with this, the game is definitely not over. The government's got unlimited time, unlimited money. The supposed defenders of the Bundy Ranch, you know, how long could they stay there? You know, how long could this thing, you know, they're going to wait till it dies down and then the government fuckers are going to move in there, man. That's what's going to happen. You got to have something legally where the BLM was totally in the wrong, you know, this Chinese developer playing games behind the scenes, you know, Harry Reid is involved or some shit, you know. I don't know. And just freaking, it's going to have to be legally binding all the way. Then you won. Then you're cool. Because once it's legally binding, then you got the government on your side. So it isn't that easy, man. I know this. And I'm going to say this too, because I don't want to say too much. Stealth is everything. Stealth. And basically not, you know, I'm putting out a video on this and I'm saying stealth is everything and I'm blabbing stealth is everything, but I realized some of the shrewdness is lacking in this whole deal. And that's your number one weapon. Because you want to kind of morph the government into something that's on your side. You don't want to be going like this. You want to change them. You want to change them from within. Then it's different. You know? It's not like us against them. You don't want to play that game. Now somehow, I don't know how this fucking deal was with Ukraine, but that's I wouldn't want to see the BLM go that freaking extreme, you know. Hey, here's all our weapons and shit. I'll trade it for a bottle of vodka. I don't know what the hell those Ukrainians did over there, but basically you want the BLM to abandon their cause. That's what you want to do, you know. I don't know. I mean, I personally, myself, it's like, you know, if I was tasked to do something I didn't like, I'd do it. It's the way it is. So, I mean, I don't know what the fucking deal is there. So, you know, it's like, you could play a game up to a point. You know, you'd play a game up to a point, but you got to give the the guys on the ground, the BLM, some kind of maneuvering room where they can kind of say, well, fuck it. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I don't really consider. I wouldn't count on one of those Ukrainian moments there because I was surprised about that shit, man. I was surprised about that shit. I never heard of anything like that. That was ridiculous. It's actually disgusts me because it's being. I don't want to play military game here, but it's like that's anybody who's in the military. That's not what the military is about. Period. Obey orders, man. You might bend them, but you definitely don't give up your weapons, man. You don't do that shit. Never. Never. That's like giving up your arms and legs. You don't do that shit. Unless you're dead. So, you got to watch how you're playing this whole game because you're playing direct frontal assault. The only way you're going to win out. And see, I don't like this deal because the deal is with this direct frontal assault deal is it can lead to total anarchy, and then these fucking Russians would love this. They would love this. You know what I mean? That's what pisses me off about this whole fucking deal, too. It's like, say, for instance, there was a confrontation between the BLM and this militia, the people defending the Bundy Ranch, and I think they're righteous in defending the Bundy Ranch, and I think the BLM is in the wrong, and say it was an armed confrontation. What I really fucking hate about this is Russia today be lapping this shit up left and right, creating more hate and division, and trying to balkanize the shit out of the United States. And you know what? I think those fuckers are the biggest goddamn enemy we got. Excuse my language. But I hate their guts, man, because it's not the Russians, it's this Putin regime asshole, you know what I mean? I read him like a fucking book. He's an egotistical shithead. That's all he is. I don't know. I mean, I know Obama is not exactly the only guy that runs the United States, so I mean, it's not like, if you consider him not to be a strong leader, you don't have to worry about the USA being weak or something like that because he's going to be told what to do. But I don't know. I would have already been playing a whole other game with this guy Putin a long time ago, you know? So I just got to warn people, though, because, I wouldn't want, if I was in a BLM, and I wouldn't want to be confronting the Bundy militia, whatever the hell it is. I wouldn't want to be fucking around with that shit. But I know, like, I'm too much. I know, like, I'd be like, fuck it, it's us or them. I know that. And I know they're going to think that way, too. Once the shit starts. And then Russia Today, their assholes on that fucking show is going to be playing this up, and they're going to try to divide up America even more. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Shrewdness and stealth, and not always going for the actual objective directly is the way to do it. And you got to keep that pressure on. I don't want to throw any ideas out here because I got ideas, but if you had a half a brain, you'd fucking know what those ideas are. But there's a lot of things you could do. There's a lot of things you can do. And, it's like you got to morph the government to get them on your side. Get them on your side. You don't want to fight the fire directly. You're going to be fucked. And you know who's going to move in the vacuum? Asshole Vladimir Putin and his Russia Today propaganda outlet, who I fucking can't stand, you know what I mean? And all those other dipshits that work for him that got the English accents and all this other crap and act like they're for the West. They're not. They're fucking assholes. Another bunch of oligarchy crap over in Russia, too. If that was Putin, he just freaking would have had Well, let me put it to this way, because I got on that subject. If this was Russia, and the Bundy Ranch was, this was all Russia, and Vladimir Putin was running the whole place, and he's been elected president since 2000. He's going to be president all the way up to 2018 or whatever the hell it is, or 18. He would have just had Spetsnaz go in there, or he would have had some other militia dressed as civilians go in there and shot those guys up and blown up the fucking place and killed them all, and said it was other militia people that were fighting the militia that was in Bundy's ranch. It had nothing to do with the government, and he would have wasted them, and he would have had all the media that's controlled in the whole country tell you that's what the facts were. That's what would have happened. That's why you don't want to give those fuckers any kind of room to balkanize the United States. Period. You know? Personally, I think if they send a stupid BLM over to Crimea and look for fucking rare frogs and turtles and tell the Russians to get out because you're endangering the species, maybe that'd be a nice mission for them to do, right? Keep them busy. Anyway, over and out.